सते स्वयं लिख्यते कथम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहम् इति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वता मज्जता अनचलनरोधा आत्मनिष्ठो त्वम्। देहं मृण्मयवत् जडा अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तभावशुद्धिसमये सिद्धा सद्धा दृष्टात्मनिष्ठा सो स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचल शिवः पूर्ण विभाति स्वयं सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचल शिवः पूर्ण विभाति स्वयं। Namo Ramana. In this, the Thursday satsang from Ramanacentre Center for Learning, it has been our practice to select two verses from the work Guru Vachikapovai, rendered in verse form by Muruganar Swamigal. The random selection of the two verses is done by Revatima. Each verse is read and the reading is followed by a short meditation on its meaning, and that is followed by the practice of Atma Vicharam for about 15 minutes. After these two segments of verse reading, meditation on meaning, and the practice of self-enquiry are completed, there will be summing up remarks by Shri Venkatesh Deshpande, and that will be followed by the offering of Sri Ramana Stotram. The chanting will be online by Vaibhavji and Pratnama, and the offering of the floral offerings to Bhagavan will be by Manjunathji from right here. The Harati will be online again, and that will bring the satsang to a conclusion. We begin by going to the first verse selected for us, verse number 18. This is in the first segment of the work called Investigation into Truth. Auspicious Invocation. The subsegment is auspicious invocation, verse number 18. The other two segments, other than investigation into truth, are meditation on the truth and the experience of the truth. We go to verse number 18. He possesses a heart in which attachment and separation are not possible. He is the Swarupa who has the beauty of renunciation, that is jnana. Putting an end to the sorrow caused by forgetfulness of the self, he ruled over me and brought me under his dominion. His feet are the perfect exemplar of all the distinguishing characteristics of truth. And there is a quote from Day by Day: renunciation and realization are the same. They are different aspects of the same state. Giving up the non self is renunciation. Inhering in the self is jnana or self realization. One is the negative and the other is the positive aspect of the same single truth. Let's read that again. This is an invocation to the self, how Bhagavan as the self is the ruler, is the Lord to whom our surrendering of the relative self is offered. What is the nature of Bhagavan? What is the nature of that self which is seated in our heart, to whom all our devotion in Atma Vichara is offered? When we ask, whence am I? We are only seeking this self, Bhagavan the self, who is shining in every individual's heart as I. What is the nature of that I? He possesses a heart in which attachment and separation are not possible. No other for the Atma Swarupa to be attached, no other for the Atma Swarupa to be separated or detached from. He is the Swarupa who has the beauty of renunciation, that is jnana. He has renounced all things other than the self. That is the supreme renunciation. And in Ullad Narpadu, Bhagavan says, renouncing the ego, the relative self, is the real renunciation. Putting an end to sorrow caused by forgetfulness of the self, he ruled over me and brought me under his dominion. Only the self brings us to self-enquiry and to abidance. It is the only reality. Who else could have turned the relative around? The presence of the absolute reality of the self alone is the single so-called reason or cause for the relative to turn. In fact, the whole journey of going out and turning inward is rejected in the self alone is state. He ruled over me and brought me under his dominion. His feet are the perfect exemplar of all the distinguishing characteristics of Satya. He is the ever-present one, he is the self-luminous one, and the changeless one. He is the eternal one, he is the indestructible one. All this nature of truth can be attributed to Bhagavan, the self. With the immense grace of that self, to which all our practices and offerings are made, let us sit in Atma Vicharam for the next 15 minutes. We can request Ujjwalji to set the time for us. Namo Ramana.
नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
Namo Ramana. Let us continue by taking the second verse selected for us, 657, 657. We find in the segment meditation on the truth. The subsegment is form. Meditation on the truth, subsegment form. Verse number 657. Worship of the formless reality will be possible only for those in whose minds the ego that identifies with the form has perished. Worship of the formless reality will be possible only for those in whose minds the ego that identifies with the form has perished. You should know that all the worship performed by those with the mind which has an ego that identifies with the form will be worship of form alone. Who can and who will be actually meditating on the formless, the unconditioned nature of the Supreme Being? Only those in whom the ego, which identifies with the form, has perished. Worship of the formless reality will be possible only for those in whose minds the ego that identifies with the form has perished. You should know that all the worship performed by those with a mind which has an ego that identifies with the form will be for worship of form alone. So that is a fact. So there is no point in speaking of formless worship and form worship with form in the ego-ridden world. In the world, everybody is worshipping form only. They may be saying they are worshipping the formless, but the moment they seek money, they seek food, clothing, shelter, those are all forms of the same self only. So everybody who is having an ego with form can only seek the Lord with form. Ashtamurti Bril, in one of the combinations of the 8 underlying elements, God will be required by them because they have clearly identified themselves with the limited form. There is no way they can think of or meditate on the formless. To come to that, one has to make the ego, which is attached to the form, perish. And that is the sadhana that we are going to do for the next 15 minutes or so. May we request Ujjalji to set the time for us? Namo Ramana.
Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. May I request Venkatesh ji to give us the summing up remarks? Namo Ramana, sir.
Namo Ramana. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Jnanamulam Gurur Murti, Pujamulam Gurur Padam, Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam, Mokshamulam Gurur Kripaha, Mokshamulam Gurur Kripaha. Moramla. Two interesting verses. Now let's look at this aspect of attachment and separation. Now let's picturize the Bhagwan's hall and Bhagwan sitting there, and there's a stool in front of Bhagwan. And one of the devotees gets some bananas and keeps the bananas on the stool. So first of all, when the bananas come, is there any attachment to the bananas? Nobody has an attachment. When the devotee gives that, keeps the bananas on the stool, there's no attachment to that, right? And suddenly what happens? There are some monkeys who are hungry. See, in the animal world, they want to, they're hungry or they're thirsty. So they have to, the monkey comes and takes some of the bananas and runs away and feeds itself and feeds the little ones. Now, at that point of time, was there any sense of separation? So Bhagwan, let's look at it from Bhagwan's point of view. Bhagwan, there was when the bananas came, there was no sense of attachment. The bananas came, and he was abiding in the cell. Bananas came, the monkeys also came. They took some bananas, and they went away. There was no sense of separation. Also, instantly, what happened? Something he was abiding in the self. So that, but imagine a situation if Bhagwan allowed people to give money. He accepted money. First of all, that person who would have come to give would have come with an ego, with a mind. I am giving Bhagwan 1 lakh rupees and kept the money on the table. Look at the first scenario. He kept bananas, no ego, nothing. He just kept it and went. But here is a situation where he keeps 1 lakh of rupees. Again, for Bhagwan and the monkey does not matter. They are renunciates. They don't care whether there was 1 lakh or 1,000 rupees. Monkey won't even come and look at those pieces of paper. For Bhagwan also it does not matter. But imagine all the people who are sitting there in the hall. My God, look at that money. He's a very rich man. They would have all been in the non-self. The self, they would have left the self and been in the non-self. And what happens? All the renunciation and self-realization would have gone out of the window. That's why Bhagwan never accepted any money from anybody, because there would be both attachment and separation. Same thing happens in God in form or God without form. See, when Bhagwan was in form, what happened? There was great attachment. Oh, I have seen Bhagwan. When I was 13, I see Bhagwan. I spoke to Bhagwan. I pressed Bhagwan's feet. So there seems to be some attachment there. And when Bhagwan left the body, oh, there's separation. There's no more Bhagwan. Where is Bhagwan now? There's no more Bhagwan. Bhagwan says, where can I go? He says, if you are attached to this form, yes, this form will go. If you are a true renunciate, and if you really believe that God is formless, the self, the guru, the Atman, and God are all formless, then what happened? Where did Bhagwan go? Bhagwan did not go anywhere. So, this aspect of attachment and separation is something which we have to monitor every second in our lives. And it's a very, very subtle thing that happens to each one of us in our lives. So, the important thing is to be able to have this Viveka and Vairagya continuously, the switches on all the time, and to be able to understand what is the self, what is non self. And we should always hold on to the self and not be attached to the non self. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana, sir. Thank you so much. May I request Vaibhavji and Pratnama to start the chanting of Ashtotram? Namo Ramana, Vaibhavji.
नमो रमण भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योर्मि मात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि ॐ महासेन महंसेन जाताय नमः ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः ॐ गुरवे नमः ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः ॐ महौजसे नमः ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः ॐ जगद्धितावताराय नमः ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपः फलाय नमः ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः ॐ तीव्राय नमः ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः ॐ इन्दुमौळिना पितृमते नमः ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः ॐ तपोमयाय नमः ॐ उदासीनाय नमः ॐ महायोगिने नमः ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः ॐ सुसन्द्रशे नमः ॐ सवित्रे नमः ॐ स्थिराय नमः ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः ॐ फुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः ॐ विराजदचलाकृतये नमः ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः ॐ पूर्णाय नमः ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः ॐ गम्भीराय नमः ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः ॐ दक्षिणस्य निभाय नमः ॐ धीराय नमः ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः ॐ स्वराजे नमः ॐ महर्षये नमः ॐ भगवते नमः ॐ ईड्याय नमः ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः ॐ विमलाय नमः ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः ॐ आप्ताय नमः ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीशोणाचलहृद्भोतस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ ऋच्चान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणात् बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिविरचण्डांशमे नमः। ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणादृशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगभिषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमणभगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामपूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थानोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवशस्तादात्म्यभावं गतः हृन्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनासेकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
Namo बोलो भगवान श्री रमनाची की जय.
जय.
ನಮೋ ರಮಣ ಅಕ್ಕ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮೋ ರಮಣ.
ನಮೋ ರಮಣ.